have to use in your ID4, on your DHCP. The DHCP server is ready for us, so we have given them the option. Simply. The option is written in our manual, and Avaya written in their manual, and everyone has in their own manual. And we have a fixed options, by the way. You have to follow it. We have fixed options. You cannot use, for example, option 72 to have a SIP server. It's not acceptable. You only see that 152 is our SIP server. And that the DHCP server can be configured with this. And this is their job, not our job again. Clear about the VLANs? It's a pure IP subject, but pure IP subject. Here is how it looks like that the VLAN recognition that I'm connected to this switch and this subnet. I virtually define my ports with a tag, and this tag has a VLAN ID, and this VLAN ID will define my type of service. In SV95, because we also have a lot of distributed architecture, I mean, for example, in Japan, maybe they have 50 or 60, 95 distributed worldwide. For example, Mitsubishi office or Hitachi office, or let's say, most of the Japanese companies which have a remote office, they have connection with SV95 in Japan. So, to handle all of this is very difficult to maintain all of this because of bandwidth limitation. Maybe they have a VPN connection with Colombia, which have a very low quality of voice over IP packets. So we have to also be able to restrict the call based on the availability of the bandwidth. That means I should not depend on these guys in the switch management to say that yeah, you will have a call and the call will have a poor quality. From the 95 itself, I can do a bandwidth management job. Look here, I have here in this network a 5 mega mega uplink, but here I have a bottleneck 2 mega only. I cannot pass more than 2 mega calls in this, and I have to set up my threshold. What if my bandwidth is less than this value? Should I allow the call, or should I restrict it based on the bandwidth management list? That means I am allowed to make a call or not allowed. This call could pass through 4 mega link, but what if I have another call, and another call, and another call? I look for my available bandwidth management. So instead of waiting for the guy from the IT to tell me that your voice cannot pass it through because of bandwidth, I can restrict it from my system. And this is also a very good feature. Here, you can set up the location. Please warn me based on the location, the call between location 1 and 3. If I have this limitation, please send me a warning message. Don't allow the call. If the bandwidth goes beyond this, please limit the call, restrict the call. So I can make a call restriction based on the available bandwidth. Also, I can set up based on the time zone. I know that our database backup will start around 2:30. And I don't want to interfere with the guys over there. I know that it's not possible to have a voice call in this direction now. And the IT guys told me I have a limited bandwidth with the Colombian office. So immediately I will restrict my bandwidth management. It's a very impressive option for the guys who's really using distributed architecture. And did you see it up anywhere else? That you can restrict your call based on the bandwidth management?
If we receive the restriction, what will happen then if a second, that means 2 calls is passed through, right?
It's already done. What's
the call?
So the call will receive a restricted signal. And if I want to call it, we are both our internal extension, but the call is restricted, it's immediately indicated that there is a bandwidth management. And also in the DFTD alarms, you can see that we don't allow 95 to call out because the bandwidth is limited. So all of this can be managed. It's a very big subject, by the way, because you can adjust based on the in the location area, and also it can be much more good, much more impressive for the multiple hops. I know that I have 4 MB, but this 4 MB is really restricted for the data people, and I don't have maybe allowance to share maybe only 3 calls. So I can balance my calls between the bandwidth. I know that they are not allowing me in this direction or in this router to have more than 2 calls. So why should I use this route? So I restrict my call and pass it through other links.
Load balancing, yeah?
Yes. It's clever enough to measure the threshold with other ends.
لحالها
Yes, yes.
or to
Yes. Based on the communication with the system. I can have the call in this direction, and you have to stop at the beginning your location IDs, and based on the location IDs, you can stop the bandwidth that you have to assign. And these are the limitation on the borders that could happen. And also, again, it could generate alarms, say, telling you that in this time you have this limitation.
static routing.
Yes, it's also dependent on the static routing. Static routing table that you have to define in your system. And then routing is used convergently for the large size network. Yes. It's also implemented for 16 hop only. It's also very important that we cannot do more than 16 hop. That's some question that's still for most of the Japanese project that they would like to go more than 16.
But Khalid, you don't know the hops the call is going to go through and distributed architecture. Right?
If it's over VPN tunnel, we could know. And most of the military network, they're using static routing.
Okay.
Yeah, they're using static routing. And you have to label SFC for this extension who will be used this bandwidth restriction. It's also important to calculate my bandwidth. So what if I have G711? How many K I need? At least 76 with a single call. It's uplink, downlink. And if I have G729, I have to book 20. I mean, for the voice and signaling packets, I have to consider all of this bandwidth. So based on that, I have to say how many IP phone I have in this area and how many bandwidth available for me to pass it through. And there is the bandwidth requirement for the G711, for example, 40 milliseconds.
Well, how do they measure the size by milliseconds?
It's standard. It's a payload that I agree to have every 40 seconds to send this data for 40 milliseconds. Every 30 milliseconds and send this packet together.
Yani, what I know that MS is regarding to the, let's say, the time. The packet needs to go and come back.
It's not the round trip time, it's the number of packets that we agreed to send from the initial group. I will give you a nice example. What if I'm using G711 and you're using G729?
Coding mismatch.
That means we cannot agree how to send it, but we already agree to have this payload size and this protocol for coding. What if I have G711 and you have G711, but you are using 20 and they're using 40?
As well coding mismatch.
Coding mismatch, yeah. We don't like if it's not agreed.
Okay.
Also did for the bandwidth required for control signal, it's calculated per kilobyte. Especially the BRI have very high bandwidth requirement for the BRI because it's contained 30 channel. And again, the media converter, all kind of media converter, including also the SRM receipt where control signal, I think 16 milliseconds. So this calculation normally is approximate, and you have to be more realistic once you do it. Normally, if we have a project where the customer is moving from pure TDM to pure IP, we share with them this sheet. It's a kind of questionnaire. And the marketing is overlap. We have here technical questionnaire for feasibility of the network. So one of our IT guys will calculate it for you. At least to verify if this configuration could be possible in your network or not. And here we ask not only the bandwidth question, we ask all kind of questions that we could feel that it may affect the configuration. And if you have any kind of paging system use, voicemail use, maximum call expected between sides, average of call between sides. If you fill this, or your customer really fill this information, we could help you in the bandwidth calculation. See, if we have a 95 with 5 sites, main site have 70 phones and 2 MGBRI, and this site have the 10 phones and 1 MG basically. Maximum time expected, again it's approximate values for busy channel to be 40 channel, and remote site is 5 channel. They calculate the necessary WAN bandwidth for the remote site. One voice channel will cost 60K. So this is how it looks like. You have 5 channels. I'm talking about the real call aspect. You have this. In the main site, each call with a 40 channel will cause this, will require this bandwidth, and the control will cause this, and the total required is around 3 MB dedicated line for this kind of sites. So keep it in your mind. This calculation, the IT guys are much more better than us in this, because they do it for the databases. Some kind of database like Oracle and SQL, if there is a delay in the database written, the database may scrap. They have their own verification protocols for the database transaction, but again, it could be scrapped. So they really calculate the bandwidth in the way that they can guarantee the transaction of the data between 2 sites. Echo is also something that that's a hot subject sometimes, that you have to set up based on a loudness rate, and it's mainly required for the IP to IP phone. No, it's not for the main IP to IP phone. It's mainly will be involved, or it will be clear if you have IB to COT or IB to BRI. This kind of communication is really converting analog to digital to IB. It have a lot of transaction between. It may cause a echo. To manage the echo, I implement this echo cancellation, or loudness rate, ORL. Maybe in all the installation I installed one time only. But I could give you a summary. This is prepared by NEC Japan, and here is the details about how they are implemented. And this is, we have a OLR 16 and 10 and 20. By default, the system is configured with ORL 10. Just you can verify the values. And here's all the requirement to be configured in your system for this. If you would like to go for ORL 16, this is the values that you have to assign in your system. This is again basic for ORL 20. And there's another command which is AIBDL, bare devices. By the way, you cannot do it partially. You cannot do this command partially. If you start to do it, you say I have a problem between COT and IP phones. You have to complete ORL 10 or 20 in the complete configuration. Like if this is for IP devices for the station, for COT, for type, for attendant, for all kind of calls. If I have analog MC, all kind of devices, you can create a matrix. And we already test all of these values, so you can, if you have any echo or noise identified, you can implement ORL 20 or 16. I try to use it in many sites, but it's really required for one site only. It's not really that kind of feature that you really need it. And in Middle East, I don't feel that it's really mandatory to use it, because in Middle East, yeah, our life is a little bit different. The Europeans, they're just sitting. This noise, this voice could be a noise for them. So they're really sensitive toward the voice equality, not like us. But sometimes you really need to do the complete OR. And just, I need you to know that the 95 can do this kind of bad level control for them. Additionally, this is also option that can be enabled in the phone itself, called noise suppression option, which is let's say more common to be used in 95. That some people say we have hear the very sensitive noise, and after we continue the call more than 20 seconds, we hear this voice or this treble noise. This is again, it's not generated from us. It's not generated from the data network. So you can just enable the noise suppression option here, and the problem will disappear.
This is not valid for our case, what we are suffering now.
You have a problem with IB phones? NEC IB phone?
No.
This is only for NEC IB phone.
We cannot set it for all.
You can set it for all. How you can set it for all? You have to create a config file, and this config file is uploaded in your DSCP server, and once the phone is rebooted, it will apply this option automatically. Let's have a break for 5 minutes. وعليكم السلام عم سردار. زين عم سردار. كيف حالك؟ سمان من بكرة. بكرة يجيب سمان. بكرة يصير 4 زين. 4 4 إن شاء الله. زاهد يصير بلد بعد شهر 1 month. زين إن شاء الله. زين بارك الله فيك. هوتيل بعدين يودي سماع من المكتب إن شاء الله. إن شاء الله. زين
سردار مبلغ؟
سردار؟
ايه
سردار؟
بعرف سردار اللي له 5 اخوان.
ايوه
هو
سفر.
كان معنا كنا نقعد معه ميتنج.
سردار اصور لك الو. السلام عليكم. بونجورنا. شلونك مولانا؟ لا يا عم انا في التريننج يا عم طخش علي الله يرضى عليك. انت ما تطالع ما تروح ما تخلص. انت متى رايح متى مسافر متى جاي؟ ايه؟ بكره فجر من بكره الصبح. وين مسافر؟ وين مسافر؟ مع سريلانكا. بالسلامة. أحلى بسلامة وطلب بسلم على الشباب بعد. سلم على البديع. كلهم حبايبنا. أنا عملاني في الكورس بس هطلع وأحكيك إن شاء الله. رضي الله عنك والله. رضي الله عنك.
آخر
سردار الشاب العامل اللي بيجيب لنا الايتم في الاوفيس.
اوكي.
واحد ثاني بجوز انت كان واحد ثاني.
لا حكيت عنه سردار اللي هو ماسك كل شيء، سردار مشمري، سردار
لا واحد ثاني.
هذاك قصة يعني.
هذا شاب عامل بيجيب لنا شو اسمه، هو من بتن يجيب لنا هو الاغراض من المكتب، هو اللي جاب اللابات انا وقتها، هو اللي بجرب الكتب وادري على المكتب.
معناته هو
سردار.
لا بقول لك باربيل بتعرف كيف ابو خضر عندنا
ايوه
بالسيارات وهي الشغلات، هناك عندهم سردار، هم 5 اخوان يعني، سردار وسالار
هذا تام سردارنا. Tomorrow is the last day for you.
Yeah. All others are staying, huh?
You see?
I will ask you something. Tomorrow is the last day then, right? Alhamdulillah.
Yeah.
What you will do after you come back?
Where?
Saudi.
We really need to see a DoD issue first. This is the main issue remaining, and the missed call for the operator.
But you don't forget that you have to close your tickets.
Yeah, I will close, but I will not close for the BC, the operator. I will tell, I will update the ticket.
At least if you don't want to close, at least update in the right.
They have sent
You know how this guy out thinking. You need a very specific description for each and everything.
Oh, I was angry with him, that's why.
okay.
That is my problem.
It's very specific.
He was not passive, he was rude.
I badly need this.
No, and their culture, this is
I think
good.
this is enough.
No, can you see the language of
It's
what
better.
his language he is using?
Yeah.
You are in the
Means,
already.
I-
That's what.
This is completely strange. I am saying that 73, nobody knows 7300 outside and inside the hotel.
Blank,
Killing people.
People know 0 is the operator.
unique.
What he is replying me that I saw the email of the website of the Marriott and I can clearly see the number
I can trouble
2817300.
you another 5-6 days.
Yes.
And when I will dial 0 from my home, it will not go to the Marriott. What kind of
You don't understand what you are talking about, right?
I didn't write a rocket science. I'd say in simple word that people from outside and inside they don't know 7300 as an operator. 0 is operator for them.
Yes.
This is what I write.
Right.
Everybody can understand. If somebody didn't understand me here, they can tell me. What he is writing, I saw the website and I can see the number here.
No. Verbal communication is a bit different than written communication.
I can give you the written conversation. I have shown you 10 of the people. Tell me what I am saying. He said you are saying like this. This is simple. This is simple language.
Well, in some scenario, Abdullah, people really happy to misdescribe. I want to explain for you one time.
So sometimes you can say, but in this case, no.
Don't forget. I will tell you why. We have a good engineer. Norman, his name is Jeremy. He's very good. Very, very good. He could explain a problem in SV95. He have 95 installed in Muscat, and they have IP phones in Swala, somewhere else. He said, if the IP phone connected in the same room of the PABX, the voice quality is perfect. But the IP phones connected in Swala have a different behavior. Or they say they have a voice problem. So, this kind of indication, you are starting to think that means if 95 is doing good with a directly connected terminal, that means the 95 itself have no problem. It's something like a subnet problem, switch configuration problem, or whatever. Right? This is a basic indication. And we spend at least 3-4 days discussing and studying what could be the problem of this RTP quality for his scenario. And after 16 days, he says, sorry, I don't do a testing in the local side, and I get the information from the customer only. And I could find the problem also in the local force. You spend 16 days working hard, and someone was really just misdescribing the word, or don't do the real test. How you will trust? Not in your case, not in my case. Normally, if you feel that these guys may misunderstand you, I will show you many examples.
No, I have initiated the ticket that I write SC9500 and the problem PC Pro. Maybe not, what could we so? He was saying that why you have write PC Pro. I explained that maybe I thought we need some programming in the PC Pro. Okay, I said sorry, if it is not PC Pro, okay, change it. I cannot change it from now on. So he changed it and he sleep for 16 days.
This is also wrong. You could not sleep for 16 days if you
And
send the
then
reminder 3 days.
What remarks he came back that you generated the ticket in the low priority. That's why I didn't get the time. What is this means? 16 days you didn't get the time?
Because you also didn't send the reminder for 3 days. Every 3 days you don't receive an update from the support center, you should send a reminder.
Yeah, I sent the reminder many times.
Don't
And
stop.
you told me to do every 2 days. I was sending
the
the
third
reminder.
day, you don't reply, you should discuss to Osama. This is the Osama job to follow up, not you, not me. All of these people are monitored by someone, and this someone is connected to all of the channel directors. Maybe he misreact, but it's not a reason that the customer was waiting for 16 days.
See, there was 3 options: PC Pro, gateways, and something like. What should I select? What is the problem of the man is SV9500? Then okay, down there they're asking in the ticket, you have problem in PC Pro, gateways, and one was another software. It was the problem of the software. It is a programming problem. So programming is
If you have a problem in the PC Pro itself,
not installing a like
did you read this manual?
this.
No. I'm not saying what Abdullah is doing is wrong. I know our people in Netherlands, how they react. Their expectation also, their mindset about Middle East people is very bad. Because
Not only them, by the way.
let's see, with 87 countries, we could handle support as a third line only, free of charge, and all of our solutions going. Only in the Middle East, once we have a ticket, we have to send an email like this. Like this one. For example, I will give you a nice example about Etisalat. And this is sent to me in order to send to Etisalat. This is the open tickets. And all of them are problem reported. And see, urgent. And the current status is
Days.
it's 2 days. Do you think customer will wait 82 days? Do you think the customer will wait 82 days? And the current status, that means he don't send a reminder and he don't do anything. I sent for him the same engine, 3 reminder, and he don't do anything else.
خالد قد ما هي تبعت كريم؟
تبعت؟
كريم؟
لا it's a marine company. Here's the close incidents. How many incidents did they have last year? And when it was started, and in more info status. You can see the dates. How many time was waiting? I can understand why this could happen. like they are working in a restricted work sites that they cannot access. I can understand. For a commercial normal customer, I should expect a reply next day or 2 days after. Also, some people misunderstand that they are working in a different time zone. So they submit a ticket on Sunday, they want a reply today. Or they submit a ticket on Thursday with missing information. So the people will reply on Friday. They are working not working on Saturday and Sunday. They will start to reply on Monday,
Monday.
and they will